So, Canto 1, Chapter 5, we are dealing with Section 2. First, mistakes are pointed out, then scriptures are glorified, and then after that, in text number 8, 12, 17 to 20 and 22, devotional service is distinctly glorified, very specifically. And how that is done? First, he says in text 8 about worthlessness of any philosophy. One may be an expert philosopher, a very mentally appealing philosophy, a philosophy which appeals to the mind, to the body, to the senses, even to the intelligence, very, very stimulating. But if that philosophy does not help you to develop devotional service, it is simply worthless, useless. Then after that, in 12th verse, as we see here, same thing, worthlessness of karma, any fruitive activity, or jnana. Now, any fruitive activity might be there to gain lot of material assets, and one may be highly successful, but if it does not help you to enhance devotional service, in essence, from ultimate perfection point of view, it is worthless. Similarly, jnana, any accumulation of knowledge or any kind of speculation with all the conceptions which we have, hundreds and thousands of ideas, conceptions, speculation, knowledge, it is worthless if it is devoid of devotional service. In fact, even transcendental knowledge devoid of the knowledge of Lord means impersonal realization, dry speculation. If it is devoid of devotional service, Narad Muni is telling it is worthless. And that's what Vyasadeva had given elaborate understanding of realization of impersonal Brahma. If you go back to text number 3, 4, 5, you will find Narad Muni is telling you have fully delineated the subject of impersonal Brahma. Still you are not satisfied, because karma jnana both are dissatisfying without devotional service. Then we have philosophy, karma jnana, 17th and 18th verse. Again we have worthlessness of swadharma. What is swadharma? One's occupational duty, or one's duty according to one's varna or ashram, or one's duty as a brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas, brahman, kshatriya, vaishya, shudra, or any obligation in this material world, dharma towards family, community, nation, it is worthless if it does not lead to devotional service. Like Srila Prabhupada was presenting himself as a nationalist follower of Gandhian in front of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, but Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, what is the use of all this? Ultimately we are looking for ultimate freedom, and he pushed him for devotional service. So worthlessness of swadharma without devotional service. And then he says, this is more in 17th verse actually, and then 18th verse he says, only goal worth endeavoring. So worthlessness, but now he says only goal worth endeavoring is what? Is devotional service. That is 18th. And one of the reason for that, he says, ultimately it is the Supreme Lord who is the only hand behind everything in the cosmos. Rather, this point is in 20th. 20th says Supreme Lord behind the cosmos. Everything is resting on the Supreme Lord. He is the thread which binds many pearls together in a garland. The thread which binds. Everything rests on Him. So everything is meant for His pleasure because He holds everything. And because Supreme Lord holds everything, He is to be pleased by all our activities. So after so emphatically, so clearly mentioning all this, then in 21 he says, in verse number 21 he says that, or 22 rather, Narad Muni is again emphasizing devotional service as the ultimate goal. So first he says only goal worth endeavoring, and it is the only goal of all austerities. If anybody is doing any tapasya thinking this to be the ultimate thing, no, the goal of austerities is bhakti. If anybody is doing lot of charity, thinking himself to be a great person, only good if it is dovetailed in devotional service. If somebody, this is devotional service. If somebody sacrifice, it is only good if it is dovetailed for the pleasure of the Lord. Otherwise, in itself, how much religious this or this may appear, but it is useless. And then he says, not only sacrifice, chanting of the Vedic hymns, however religious it may appear, but if not done for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, then it is useless. Like this, many activities are mentioned. Devotional service is the ultimate goal, and this is all set up by learned circles. Various learned devotees have mentioned this. And thus, after highlighting all these things, that how devotional service is distinctly glorified, then he also says, so first, worthlessness of karma and gyan, worthlessness of swadharma, worthlessness of philosophy, only goal worth endeavoring, clearly the goal of tapasya, austerity, sacrifice, charity, etc., etc. And then we can also add some more verses where it says 32 to 36, 38 rather. 32 to 38 can also be added here. Because after telling worthlessness and the only goal worth endeavoring, then Narad Muni glorifies devotional service as only remedial measure to get rid of all troubles. It is the only remedial measure if one has to get rid of all the troubles. And here the beautiful example of milk and yogurt is given. The same activity, just like milk, intake of too much milk causes indigestion, but the same milk in a transferred form becomes the cause of cure. Similarly, the same activity performed one's own pleasure is the cause of bondage. Same activity performed for the pleasure of the Lord becomes the cause of liberation. So first, in terms of remedial measure, first thing is mentioned dedicate all activities for service of Lord. So dedicate all activities. And second thing is, while doing all the activities, always glorify Lord by transcendental sound vibration. So always doing some kirtan and chanting of the Lord's name, this is glorified. And this is done in text 32 to 38. And finally it ends with text 40 speaking the same thing, that glorify by transcendental sound vibration. This is transcendental sound vibration. Thus devotional service is very distinctly glorified by Narad Muni. And then he says, Vyasadeva, you are highly qualified. You can perform this task very nicely. He mentions the qualifications of Vyasadeva in text 13 and in text 21. Qualifications of Vyasadeva are mentioned. Why he is qualified to bring out such a pure subject matter? So there he mentions, in his personal practices, looking from personal practices point of view, Vyasadeva is situated in truthfulness. So that is his sadhana, his integrity. And the same thing also mentioned, he is firm in his vow. And not only that, in terms of all his qualities, he is fixed in all spiritual qualities. And after all this personal quality, this is all personal life. So not only he is in truthfulness, fixed in his vows, he is fixed in all spiritual qualities, but also in terms of his social, he is well known in society in the sense that his good fame is spotless. That everybody also acknowledges him. Not that Narad Muni is telling to Vyasadeva, but Narad Muni is telling your fame is spotless. Everybody knows about these good qualities. Absolutely no material taint is there. And not only that, if you have to do a contribution, you should know how to do it. You should not be confused about it. Somebody may have all these qualities, may be spotless, but he doesn't know how to, which direction to take. So then he says, your vision is completely clear. So that makes him extra qualified. He can very clearly see what has to be done now. Is completely perfect. He is a perfect seer. So perfect seer, no confusion, no contamination. And then not only that, he knows the super soul. Now this is, if you have connection with the super soul, then you can best perform for the welfare of all living entities. So personal life is done, social life is clear, vision is clear, connection with the Lord is there. So personal life, social life, vision is clear, connection with the Lord is there. And after that, not only all this, his very birth, although he is birthless, this is the most important, although he is birthless, he has appeared for well-being of others. Now, being an incarnation, the whole purpose is for others' well-being. So naturally, he is going to do the best work for everyone. Since he is born for that purpose. So if somebody is born with a mission, naturally that mission will be accomplished. So his personal life is clear, social life is clear, his vision is clear, he knows the super soul because he himself is a planetary expansion, and although he is birthless, although still he appeared for the well-being, which means his mission is going to be successful. So Vyasadeva is fully qualified. Hare Krishna.